Rogan Report podcast. Check it out.
All things Joe Rogan by day. Rogan Report podcast by night. All day. All night. Half hour to an hour-ish episodes once a week.
The Rogan Report podcast.
All right, Shane, welcome to Season 2, we're calling it, Episode 25.
Yeah, man.
Reformatted a little bit as of the last show, so that's kind of fun to be doing something a little different. Hopefully it's good for the listeners. Got some good feedback from a guy in the States there. He sent us a message saying that, he tuned in kind of looking for JRE and then stayed for the CanCon. Canadian content.
It's fantastic. Yeah. All the way from Florida.
Yeah, so thanks for listening down there in Florida. Shout out to you.
I believe it was at Aaron WTF6.
Okay, is that
Maybe
like his Twitter
7.
handle or something?
Apologize if I forget the number at the end.
There you go.
Yeah.
Apologies from Shane.
Apologies.
Always a good way to start off
Apologies.
the episode.
From north in Canada. That's what we're known for up here is apologies. So
Absolutely.
we'll just start it off with one.
So, the new format, we're kind of each picking either like a topic or an episode from the previous week to kind of go a little deeper into and try to find out some stuff that maybe wasn't clear in that episode or expand on some of those topics.
For sure.
And you said were going to choose Dr. Phil's episode.
Dr. Phil and the use of SSRIs and general wellness is kind of my topic for the week.
Sure.
With the smattering of a few other things I talked about. But, yeah. So I guess we'll jump right in. I don't need to give much of an introduction here for Dr. Phil, but his name is Phil McGraw.
It was episode 1254.
That's right. And since we're not doing a rundown anymore, that's valuable information.
Yeah.
1254. So apparently Dr. Phil also, besides doing his show, has a podcast called In the Blanks.
Right.
Which is cool.
Fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very creative.
So, plenty.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even realize it probably is Fill in the Blanks. I was just looking at it, just says In the Blanks on iTunes.
Yeah.
Duh.
That's funny.
That was thick.
Fill in the blanks. For sure. Yeah.
So he's been doing that since early this year. And he was saying on the show that he's into doing that because he can just talk to get people. He doesn't have to help people.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to Dr. Phil anyone. He can just speak.
A little less pressure.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
You think he wants to transition? He said he just renewed the show for like some ungodly amount of 10
he's been
more
doing
seasons
it
or something.
forever,
right?
since 2002.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on, 17 years.
Yeah, that's
which is a long time.
And he was saying on the JRE that he just renewed his contract for like more years, not just like the next season, right?
He just said he's happy doing it.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you? If you're enjoying it, he's
guess.
making like $79 million a year or some
Yeah,
bullshit. That's what they said his salary was, $79 million.
Did you get his net
on
worth?
Wiki? Yeah, well, it didn't say his net worth, just his salary is what they put, which is weird. I
Really?
felt like.
They must have on celebritynetworth.com.
I didn't even
which,
think
as we know, is 100% accurate and lists all assets.
Yeah, totally.
I'll look it up while you tell me about the next topic.
Okay, for sure.
Dr. Phil.
So, as a college student, he played football. I don't know if everyone knows that about Dr. Phil. He doesn't necessarily look like a football player, but
he looks like
he's
an
big,
old
though,
football
right?
player
He's
to me.
big
yeah.
and tall. And
he looks
shit.
like someone who used to play football.
Yeah, so he grew up in Tulsa and went to actually I don't know if he grew up in Tulsa. That might be bullshit. But he did go to the University of Tulsa.
And then went on to have an estimated net worth of $400 million.
Wow.
400 mil. So if he's making $88 million a year, he must be spending a pretty healthy amount, right? Because how you would assume I guess he wouldn't have been making
Robin's
$88
not walking around in Kmart. She's got some Gucci and whatever else.
Yeah.
So he started on Oprah in the late 90s, 1998, I believe he made his first appearance. And he kind of met Oprah, helping her with I'm not sure the whole story behind Oprah. I should have went further in that. But
a legal battle.
it was the mad cow thing. Somehow she was involved with that, but he was representing her.
Yeah.
So he's a lawyer too.
She grew a bunch of mad cows, and then
Is that what it was?
I don't know.
She was trying to get people to eat the mad cows.
Someone called her a mad cow once, and then she went and prosecuted them.
She does well.
Don't call me a mad cow, you bastard! I'm gonna be president someday. Someday, America's gonna elect a terrible reality show host as a president, and then everyone's gonna be like, Oprah should be president.
Yeah,
and then that's what happened.
Yeah. So right off the hop, when the show started, Joe came right at him with the bad baby shit.
Yeah.
The fucking Cash Me Outside. How about that?
Yeah.
Girl?
Cash Me Outside.
How about that?
How about that? There's another one meme that I saw. Something with now. I forget.
I think I know. I don't remember it, but I know what you're talking
But
about.
Cash Me Outside is the big one.
Yeah.
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 Money me outdoors.
So her name
Money
is
me out of doors.
her name is Danielle Brigoli for all of you sitting under a rock.
Yeah.
AKA Bad Baby with some terribly placed H's.
She makes me like regret humanity
Dude.
in a way that I'm like, ah.
How about she was nominated for a Grammy?
I know. I'm like, what have I done with my life? I'm like twice her age and, barely getting any traction on a derivative podcast on, I guess it is on iTunes, but
well, we're not out there making waves like Bad Baby, but
yeah, no.
So here's the thing for me is, what are the Grammys worth? Pretty much nothing if she's getting nominated for one, right?
Well, once you are nominated for a Grammy, though, that's going to get you a lot of opportunities.
For sure. It's worth plenty.
Yeah, it's
for
worth
her.
quite a bit.
But I'm saying for us,
yeah.
What is the fucking point of it? Other than for them to make themselves rich.
Maybe I should send them one of my CDs.
Maybe,
like,
yeah.
Hey, you liked that. Like,
you got to get
this is at least twice as good.
But kick a puppy at the end of it or something. You got to do something rough.
Right,
you got to get noticed.
Hmm.
What can you do that's controversial that won't get you blacklisted?
I don't know.
I mean, they're all
used to
kind
be
of
like
taken.
I smoke weed sometimes, but now that's
God.
like totally legal and just like, oh my, okay, Grandpa, you got your fucking marijuanas.
Yeah, relax.
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
I don't actually smoke. I just every once in a while.
That's so funny. Remember how badass we used to be?
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny. So they went into SSRIs quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now, I've got quite a few family. No, I don't know, quite a few. I've got some family members that definitely take those.
Yeah.
And it helps certain people. But I thought it was interesting what they're talking about, how sometimes you feel shitty because your life kind of sucks.
Sure.
And you should just fix your life and you'll probably feel better.
That would help. Yeah.
Is that a little callous? I mean,
Well,
they did come pretty hard on that point.
The problem is that there's a vast range of issues out there, and some people definitely are chemically unbalanced and need, they need help from SSRIs.
Yeah.
Now, do they need help forever, or is there other things they could also do to help?
Right.
That's one thing that, they say, of course, diet and exercise. You should look at all the things you can control
Try the
that
other
aren't
stuff.
pills first, and then see how much that can impact. And then, also there's definitely some people that just need them. And
some people are,
there
some
shouldn't be
doctors
stigma
though are
around
just
that.
so like trigger happy with the fucking scripts. You know
yeah,
what
they're
I mean?
not figuring out and really
Immediately.
diagnosing, and
Like
they
they're
just don't
saying
have the
the
time
average
to.
doctor visits 6 to 8 minutes or something like that in America.
Yeah.
So like, what are you knowing in 6 to 8 minutes?
Yeah, I just had my physical with my doctor, and it was a good 45 minutes, maybe an hour.
We're different.
And I felt like I could have talked when we could have gone for a couple hours. I don't know what our next appointment was, but I didn't feel rushed at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're a different bird up here in Canada, right? Like,
True.
I mean, they have time here, but also some of the best doctors are going south because there's better money to be made.
Yeah. But then they also say like that you have to, in order to be making money, you have to be seeing them every 6 to 8 minutes. Like, so is there
That's
better
right.
money, or is it like,
I don't know. And you have
Maybe
to
it's
live
more
in sort
overall,
of a
but-
weird cutthroat system down there where you can't really
Yeah.
care about people as much. Like, I feel like people become doctors because they want to help people. And
yeah.
it turns into this whole other money monster thing.
I just listened to this crazy podcast, Dr. Death. Have you ever heard of that one? It's a Wondery
I have
show.
heard of it. I haven't
Oh,
listened to
man.
it though.
This guy is basically a surgeon, terrible surgeon, but he fancies himself an amazing surgeon, and he just doesn't really like know that he's a terrible surgeon, or won't acknowledge. He's got definitely some mental things.
Yeah.
Delusional and fascinating. It's about a 10 episode like series. The whole thing is the whole story comes together in 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And it kind of walks through from his like early career into well, no spoilers, but
To the end.
we'll say to the end of his career. Hopefully the end of his career, and he's not dead.
So, some troubling stats on SSRIs. I don't know if they're troubling, but they're stats. 1 in 6 Americans are on some form of a psychiatric drug,
Mm-hmm.
which is a pretty big number.
How many Canadians, Shane?
I could not find that stat. They
Really?
have not had a stat on the internet since 2013 for that, but I did find out
Interesting.
some other stuff here. So Canadians rank among the most prolific users of antidepressants in the world.
Really?
I found that out.
That seems strange because we're known to be a happy bunch.
Maybe since we're all pilled up.
Maybe. With the free weed combined, then.
Yeah, the weed and the pills. I mean,
Legal.
who has
Yeah.
even a thought left?
True.
A study by a researcher at McMaster University in Hamilton found that the risk of death increased by 33% in users of SSRIs
Yeah.
compared to non-users.
Wow.
Which, I mean, wow, but also obviously, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to have that problem in your system if you're not doing it, so you're not going to die from it.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
It's kind of a lot of these stats, and what are we paying these researchers for?
Yeah, they kind of are like,
Fucking obviously.
I feel like stats all need to come with like, okay, here's the stat, but here's also a short description of kind of what's happening surrounding that stat.
How does that affect anything? Yeah.
Yeah, because if you just like rattle it off quickly and don't really think about it, it sounds like, oh no. But then if you actually think about it, like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
At least.
But at least when you're talking about 1 in 6 Americans, like that narrows it down to a degree where like you can actually see that and feel
Yeah.
that. Like that's heavy. You know?
It's not good.
Again, with that trigger finger.
Yeah, you wonder, 1 in 6 Americans, and then what is the actual amount of people that should be on, and maybe
Mhm.
that's one. Because like obviously there's issues with being on them. There's a lot of negative side effects. There's people feel disassociative and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's just bad for your liver. I think it's bad for your body in a lot of ways. So
Yeah.
sure, it helps, but I don't think anyone, and this is one thing Dr. Phil said as well, no one should be on something like that forever.
Right.
That's like you should be on it for a while, and then you should figure out some other ways, because otherwise they have to keep upping your dose and or coming with different drugs and stuff, and
Yeah.
that's going to take a toll.
Right. Well, and he's saying basically every week you're on it, your chances of being addicted to it are so much increased. Like,
Yeah,
by 3 weeks, I think he said, again, it was a 33% chance or 1 in 3 chance of being addicted.
you know what would be good is if they secretly had a system where they're like, okay, you're on it. Here's a year prescription.
Mhm.
At the end of the year, they renew your prescription, but instead of giving you like more SSRIs, they swap it out to like a sugar pill
Like some
every
placebos.
some placebos, but not like 100%. Just like every 4th pill in the bottle is a placebo.
Yeah.
So you're still getting some SSRIs, and then like the next prescription they give you,
Yeah.
like every 10th pill in the bottle is a placebo.
Seems like a good idea.
And then they just like force people, but without people knowing.
Mhm.
The problem is that for, I guess, that like small percentage that do definitely need them and
Yeah,
need
where it
them
actually
regularly,
is doing something.
yeah, there might be some bad news bears. So you get the odd suicide, but for the mass of humanity, better, because they're not on SSRIs.
Well, it'd just be an interesting study to find out how many people actually need the shit and actually
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Right? That'd be probably scarier findings to see,
don't
like
think
how
you
many
could
people
do
are
it.
on the shit you don't need it.
You can't like secretly test people.
That's some Dr. Evil shit.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
So
But still, you should.
yeah, we should. It would be better for all of us.
Yeah.
if we did.
So this also goes right into like giving kids Ritalin that don't need it, ADHD kids, and this
Sure.
is something Joe's talked about quite a bit
Yeah.
over the years. Is
I was diagnosed ADHD. and
sometimes
had,
kids are just excitable.
I had a Ritalin prescription when
Yeah.
I was in like just starting high school, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took it like 3 times, and then I didn't notice any differences, and I ended up just selling the pills to
Yeah, because it's almost kind of like Coke, I guess. Hey,
I don't know. I guess for people, I
I know
really
some
notice a big
people
difference.
that know one other of my friends. I'm not going to name drop anyone, but one guy gets the Ritalin pills. Hasn't taken them since he was like a kid,
And
but
just
has
sells
sold them for like forever.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, you can crush them up and snort them bitches. Apparently,
maybe.
I don't snort Ritalin myself, but
No, probably not a good idea.
but yeah, I mean, if it's a drug like that affects people that don't need it, and it's getting prescribed so much, I mean, that's a big part of what's fucking people up, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the long-term issues. Like, yeah, it's a scary one. My mom never suggested that for us, but I've always been pretty chill.
Yeah.
My youngest sister, though.
I didn't.
Shout out.
I was pretty chill, I thought, but it was that in school I just had a really hard time focusing and kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like we've talked about on JRE, it's just the way they present the subject matter.
Right.
Of course, I'm bored to
Maybe
tears.
it was just fucking boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So, what else?
What else did we have on him? Kind of went into some like the secret shit, like law of attraction stuff, basically.
Okay.
Thinking positive. What he was saying, generating the results we think we deserve because of how we're like thinking our life is already. That's going to bring on more of the same thing. I'm sure most people have heard of the
Sure.
secret. And
I think therefore I am.
yeah. Did you ever believe in anything like that? The secret? No.
No, but I do believe in like self-fulfilling prophecies.
Right.
But yeah, I never believed like, oh, if I just think about a Porsche every day, somehow I'll magically get a Porsche.
Not to that extent, I don't. But for as far as thinking positively and how it'll affect you versus thinking negatively, I think there's something to that for sure.
For sure, yeah, no doubt.
Like that'll show up physically for sure.
Yeah,
but
and like goal setting, if it's good to set long-term and short-term goals, and
Yeah.
then to like write those things down and think about what you need to do to achieve those goals.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was on. I don't think it was on that episode, but they were talking about like the difference between winners and losers, and how winners are just willing to do things that losers aren't willing to do.
It was on that one, and yeah, that's exactly what they said, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, he said, "How fucking boring would life be if all you had was success?
Of course, yeah.
Like,
no, it's impossible though.
You wouldn't even really know it was success, would you?
Yeah. It's impossible. Even
Yeah,
if
it
you're
is.
like rich and you get things handed to you, you're still going to have other failures and you're going to learn from them. Like, yeah.
That's the classic trope you see in movies: is the rich guy that doesn't have a family or whatever, right? And then you see the other guy that's poor and he wishes he had all the money, and they
course.
do the classic switcheroo thing and blah blah blah.
Yep.
There's like 18 movies made on that premise. Yeah, I guess that pretty much sums up my Dr. Phil for the week.
Okay.
I did discover on research that he actually hasn't been a psychologist since 2006.
Oh.
He has no license.
Oh.
And has not for 13 years.
So he's not a practice, but you once you get that certification, you just always can call yourself a doctor.
I fucking guess. Or
I
if you're
think so.
Dr. Phil on TV, for sure.
But he wouldn't be able to like go and start a clinic and like start
No.
practicing.
No. And I imagine there's some disclaimer somewhere in the credits saying that he's not a doctor and this is a show. Blah,
Right.
blah, blah. In
Yeah.
the same way, like Dr. Drew, too. I think although Dr. Drew is still a doctor, but
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I have no idea.
Okay. But yeah, so I chose Dr. Phil just because I kind of didn't like him before for no reason. And after listening to him on Joe Rogan, I did kind of like him.
Yeah.
Liked him a lot better anyway.
Fair enough.
Thought he was interesting. So there
Well,
you go.
I actually plan to talk about Dr. Phil a tiny bit in my my topic as well,
Oh, yeah.
and I'll bring that up when I get there.
Okay.
So, the topic that I chose is interdimensional human-animal hybrid child molesting psychic vampire aliens.
Ah.
It's a classic topic
Yeah.
out there in the world.
So
So
thinking about that one.
basically inspired from episode 1255, Alex Jones and Eddie Bravo, the return of Alex Jones.
Yeah.
A 5-hour podcast, essentially.
Oh,
That
that was a heated one.
Did you listen to the whole thing?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, me too. I'm sure there's. I wonder how many people that listen to Rogan listen to like all 3 hours of every episode.
I mean, probably, I would say at least 50% don't listen all the way through.
Right. They just listen a little bit and then, I'm not really digging this one. Just skip to the next.
Either that
something.
or barely are listening the whole time and it's playing as background,
Right.
which is often the case with me with some podcasts.
Yeah. Not me. I'm trying to focus. It's
Not
only-
Joe Rogan, because now I'm focused for the show, but other ones now I find myself drifting.
Really, any podcast that I'm listening to, I'm trying to listen, but sometimes things will come up that will demand my attention, and then
Right.
I'll have missed 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I'm like, shit.
I
And
gotta
then
go back.
I'll sometimes go back. Sometimes I'll just let it go and just try to get back into the conversation wherever it is.
Yeah.
But mostly I try to listen to any podcast I'm listening to. The point of listening to it is I'm trying to educate
Oh, yeah,
myself
for
and to
sure.
become a better human being.
Yeah.
God damn it, Shane.
Yeah. Sometimes, though, you're listening to like two comedians shoot. They're not talking about anything.
That's
They're
true.
just being funny.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Talking about how they come up with comedy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What different kinds of comedy rooms?
God, I feel like I have a fucking degree in how to be a comedian.
Yeah. Do you like playing rooms that have low ceilings?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
good.
I know I want a small room with not too big of a crowd.
Yeah. That's my room. I like 400 seats.
Yeah, exactly.
300, 400 seats. That's a pretty good sized room.
I don't have to make me pee my pants, man.
Jesus,
That's
yeah.
a big crowd to me.
I don't know. I guess I have had that many people, but
Yeah.
I've never had that many people that have just come out to see me in any of my bands. Like I've played to in festivals where there have been that many people, but they were there because it was the festival. They weren't there because it was old Ruben. So first thing I figured I'd go through is the actual interdimensional hypothesis.
Okay.
Or IDH for short. And this is an idea advanced by ufologists. And it's not UFOologists for some reason.
I think they say ufologist.
Ufologist.
Yeah.
Ufologists, which is, seems like to me it should be UFOologist.
Yeah, it's a bullshit word.
Yeah.
Ufologist.
Yeah, it's not there's no degree you can get.
Shouldn't even be ologist at all.
No,
UFO.
it really shouldn't.
No.
Dr. Jacques Vallée, ufologist. No, but actual Jacques Vallée, not doctor, he says that unidentified flying objects, UFOs for short, are related events involve visitations from other realities, quote unquote, or dimensions, quote unquote, that coexist separately alongside our own. Now, it is an alternative to the extraterrestrial hypothesis. Do not confuse the two. That's ETH, yet again for short. IDH also holds that UFOs are a modern manifestation of a phenomenon that has occurred throughout recorded human history, which in prior ages was ascribed to mythological or supernatural creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Now, although ETH has remained the predominant explanation for UFOs by ufologists, bullshit. Some ufologists have abandoned it in favor of IDH. Yeah. Paranormal researcher Brad Steiger, I added the H in there, I don't know if it could be Steiger, wrote that, quote, "We are dealing with a multidimensional paraphysical phenomenon that is largely indigenous to planet Earth," end quote. Other ufologists, I'm going to say it like that every time, by the way, such as John Ankerberg and John Weldon, advocate that IDH fits better because, or as a better explanation, because UFOs as I'm going to start this over. See if I can edit this out. That was a terrible little bit of reading right there.
Getting a bit wordy.
So, well, the thing is also, this is like a 19,000 word sentence.
Oh, yeah.
Paranormal researcher Brad Steiger wrote that we are dealing with a multidimensional paraphysical phenomenon that is largely indigenous to planet Earth. Other ufologists, such as John Ankerberg and John Weldon, advocate IDH because it fits the explanation of UFOs as a spiritistic phenomenon. Spiritistic. Yeah, learned that word today. So, commenting on the disparity between the ETH and the accounts that people have made of UFO encounters, Ankerberg and Weldon wrote, quote, "The UFO phenomenon simply does not behave like extraterrestrial visitors."
Well, I mean, I don't know how an extraterrestrial visitor behaves.
Well, they know. And the UFO phenomenon does not
I think
behave
I get
like
what
that.
they mean, though. Like, basically, it's impossible to fly light speed.
Mm-hmm.
So how the fuck would anything get here?
Well, that's the big thing.
So they have to move it away from that, and they have to talk about interdimensional now.
Yeah, some UFO proponents have accepted IDH because the distance between stars makes interstellar travel impractical using conventional means, and nobody had demonstrated an anti-gravity or faster-than-light travel hypothesis that could explain extraterrestrial machines.
Right.
With IDH, it is unnecessary to explain any propulsion method because the IDH holds that UFOs are not spacecraft, but rather devices that travel between different realities.
Yeah.
One advantage of IDH proffered by Hilary Evans is its ability to explain the apparent ability of UFOs to and disappear from sight and radar. This is explained as the UFO entering and leaving our dimension, materializing, quote unquote, and dematerializing, quote unquote. Moreover, Evans argues that if the other dimension is slightly more advanced than ours, or is in fact our own future, this would explain that UFOs' tendency to represent near-future technologies like airships in the 1890s, rockets, and supersonic travel in the 1940s, etc.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, for all the craziness, that actually is the best explanation for UFO to me.
Yeah, totally.
The only one possible, really.
Yeah, and because they have kind of proved that there are more dimensions than just the 4, I guess, that we live in, or 5,
Right? Yeah,
whatever it is.
So, but here's
didn't
the
they
thing.
prove that there's like 12 dimensions somehow or something like that with math?
Yeah, it's either that or all of NASA lies to us, and there's ships out there right now.
Yeah,
Which, I mean, that seems pretty improbable.
yeah,
I just watched a show. I think I told you about it, Our Strange Rock, and it's all about space and astronauts. And I'm thinking, like, how can so many people be lying about what's in space?
yeah.
It doesn't seem possible in this age of the internet.
No, I don't think so either.
There's no privacy anymore.
That said, there are secrets out there that we don't know. Right? Yeah. We right, that governments are keeping secret. Yeah. Conspiracies and stuff like that are real. They do happen. They come out eventually, typically. But you got to imagine that there's also some conspiracies that have just never come out.
For sure.
And,
like the vampires that actually run the world.
Yeah.
Which I pretty firmly believe in.
Yeah, so that's the conventional interdimensional alien theory. I don't know if I could summarize Alex Jones's interpretation and his, but basically he believes that I'll do my best here.
Yeah.
He believes that the kind of ruling elite, are not in fact human, but are interdimensional human-animal hybrid child that are into child molesting and psychic vampires. They take psychic energy from our dimension into their dimension, somehow via their like rituals that they get together and drink blood and all that kind of stuff.
Seems legit.
Yeah. I mean,
here's the thing: if it was coming out of anyone else's mouth, it might sound better. Because it comes out so screamy from him. Like
it does.
Dude, you sound like the dude on White Ave that's screaming about Jesus.
Yeah.
The same thing. It doesn't work.
And one thing I noticed in this podcast was that like constantly Joe's like, okay, wait, hold on. So let's first talk about interdimensional. What do you mean interdimensional?
Yeah.
Right? And then he starts trying to explain that. But in explaining that, he's like, I got documents. I'll show you.
The documents.
Yeah.
I've
talked to 100 people from other dimensions. They're always calmed down.
Yeah.
He has a little bit of a lisp, too, I noticed.
He goes too fucking hard, man.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. That's what kind of makes him seem like bullshit.
Yeah.
He's trying to steamroll over every question that Joe has.
That's what I was, where I was going to bring up Dr. Phil. I thought it was really interesting because Dr. Phil is, one of his big skills is trying to assess whether or not people are telling the truth.
Right.
And they talked about on that episode, one of the big things that people, when they're not telling the truth, they'll tell you that they're telling the truth.
That's
I got to tell you, I'm not lying to you right now.
Yeah.
This seriously happened.
As
I talked to 100
everything
people.
else you've said.
I have documents. Yeah,
Right.
Exactly. Anytime people, and I don't say, I got to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I that's not in my vocabulary because I just try to be honest all the time.
Yeah. No, that's the truth.
When people say, I got to be honest with you, instantly my guard goes up as well. I'm like,
yeah, that's car salesman-y.
Yeah.
You're like, instantly your guard's up. You're like, what?
Now, I do think that sometimes people, it's not that automatically means sometimes people are telling a lie. I think sometimes people say that when they're telling you something that they think they shouldn't be telling you, essentially, right? Or there's something that, so.
Also, sometimes figures of speech just slip into society and people just say shit. Sometimes they're not actually, you know what I mean?
Yes.
People just say things because they heard other people say them.
Yeah, it's like an expression, and it's just the way people talk.
Yeah, that is how expressions work. So.
Yeah.
If you weren't sure.
So, I don't know. I certainly don't believe, really, that there are interdimensional vampires. Not
but.
Exactly in Alex Jones's way, but do I believe that there are other dimensions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of do too.
Probably.
I kind of think that's what heaven is or whatever the fuck is next.
And are people kind of engaging somehow back and forth? I think, and maybe in ways that we don't know, we're somehow connected to these other dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
And, are there people that like know how to go back and forth between the dimensions? That's something that,
it's to me,
it hasn't been proven, but I'm certainly open to it.
It's sort of like when you see ghosts. It's almost like you're looking into the past.
Yeah.
In the same way, when you see a UFO, you're maybe looking into something that's from the future. I mean, who knows, right? I've never seen a ghost, but I can't discount the fucking millions of people that say they have.
Yeah.
It's been written about in stories since humankind has been around.
Of course. Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't really discount it completely.
There's also the thing that, like, because we have those stories, you know, when I'm sitting here at home alone and I hear a creak in the other room, I'm like, ooh, ghost.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think a lot of what ghosts, well, I'm sure 99%, maybe 100%, but high percentage is people just thinking they saw something and it wasn't that. Like people seeing Bigfoot and it was actually a bear walking around.
How much do we live in our minds? Like, we're so different from the animals in that way.
Yeah.
Like, where they just live their lives and on instinct, basically. Eat, shit, die, sleep, fucking fuck, go on. You know what I mean? We're here stuck in our minds all the time.
The other day I was in at my work, and someone came around the corner with a cart, and it was kind of like dark. The light is out in the spot, and I was sure it was a dog. I was like, "Oh, dog!" And then like a second later, I'm like, "Oh, that's the cart. That's not a dog at all. That's a cart. It's kind of dark in here. It doesn't really look anything like a dog at all." But somehow I just thought that was my brain instantly thought it was a dog.
Yeah.
Now, if I just saw it for a second, I didn't look and confirm that it was a cart, I might have thought it was a dog for the rest of my life.
Right. Well, your brain fills in the blanks, right? It's something you don't immediately recognize, so it's like, bleep, here's this.
And I don't know if I learned this on Rogan, but I did learn this recently. What you're seeing is actually only 50% of from your visual cortex, and the other 50% is from memory. Like I remember that speaker over there looks at that. So when I look at that speaker, 50% of the feedback from that speaker is my visual cortex. The other 50% is just my memory of seeing that speaker. My brain's filling it in.
Right.
Which is fascinating.
Totally fascinating.
Yeah.
So, kind of weird.
Yeah, because you got to think, so what about something you've never seen before?
Yeah.
How your brain you're seeing 50% of that from your visual cortex, and then the other 50% is memory from other things that it's just your brain is like, hey, you've seen things like that, so this is what that looks like.
Well, it's like when I was a kid, all the time when I was a kid, I used to walk into a dark room, and if my mom had like a pile of clothes on a bed and it was dark, you'd think there was a body laying there. You know how many times I went screaming to my mom, there's someone up there. Like,
I heard you still do.
Well, once in a while, yeah.
I have a coat rack right by my back door, and there's also a screen door kind of right beside it, and so if you kind of are out on the deck, you'll see the coat rack beside, and the coat rack's about the height of a human being. And there's coats on it, and so a bunch of times I'm like, what, who's in? And then, it's a coat rack.
Oh, hello, coat rack.
Yeah.
You're still there.
Why is someone standing in my house right beside the door waiting for me to get in there? It's an interdimensional alien. Oh my God.
Who wants to rape my babies and fucking
psychic
Where did that
vampire.
come in? Did he ever explain why the baby raping happens? Or is that what it was, or is it baby eating?
No, psychic vampires want to steal the youth, so they take the psychic energy from the youth, and it doesn't necessarily physically harm the babies, but they do get that energy, and then those babies presumably go up to kill themselves. I don't know. It hurts the babies somehow.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit on that. Now, I did also specifically look up some a Canadian element. So, I figured I'd bring, since that was some feedback we got, people, and I thought, that's smart. We do have listeners, I think predominantly in the States, but also other places around the world.
All over the world, yeah. Way more than in Canada, actually.
Yeah.
Like, we have very few Canadian listeners,
so,
actually.
Maybe it would be, we could add sort of a little bit of CanCon on every episode and kind of try to look at the Canadian element.
Absolutely.
So there's this UFO survey. This is from 2017, the most recent statistic I could find. 1,101 sightings across Canada.
Yeah.
That's from the Canadian Press, toronto.citynews.ca.
Wow.
So quite a few sightings in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And Quebec had the most sightings, 518, while Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, and Edmonton topped the cities with most UFO reports.
Yeah.
I remember hearing people talk about, there was UFOs.
Yeah.
And there's like, anytime there's, Northern Lights, or there was that other weird light that was kind of stuck in the sky just a month ago or so. And Andrew's like, that's Northern Lights. I'm like, they're not moving. But it kind of looked a lot like Northern Lights. I was like, okay, well, maybe it is a weird kind of Northern Lights. And then later on, she's like, oh, actually, you're right. It wasn't Northern Lights. It's this other weird phenomenon. Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. But I'm sure a lot of people were like, that's definitely aliens.
You remember the hum? a few years ago.
Yeah. The hum.
We've
for
had
sure.
our things here, and actually particularly in Alberta up north.
Yeah.
The whole energy sector, which is a pretty curious coincidence there.
Yeah. What was the hum?
I don't think it was determined.
Was it never figured out?
Never figured
Oh, it was
out.
definitely interdimensional aliens then.
For sure, yeah.
Interdimensional.
Well, do you know what?
Human-animal hybrids, psychic vampires stealing our youth. They're taking them to the other dimension. They're becoming crazy.
Do you know what's fucked? Why doesn't he talk about
I've got the
real
documents,
creepy
Shane.
shit?
I'll
Like
sh-
HARP. There's actually a thing in Alaska that's, I can't remember what HARP stands for. It's HAARP, but they do like atmospheric testing,
Yeah.
which is very likely what that hum was.
Yeah. I mean, and he does. He does talk about actual things, but it just gets blown over because every sentence that he's talking, he brings in so many other elements. So,
Yeah.
if he's talking about HARP, it's going to inevitably lead to the interdimensional vampire, yada, yada, yada.
You think he's been MK Ultra'd? I kind of do.
Maybe.
Because he acts weird.
Yeah,
man.
and he talked about like he has Joe's like at one point he's like, "Have you ever had a serious head injury?" And of course the answer is yes.
Yeah, like 80.
He's like, yeah.
Of course.
When I was 14,
And then
I
again.
dropped on my head.
And then again. And then again.
Yeah. Well, he's like, and remember the story too on that episode? He talks about like, he's like, yeah, there's this older lady. She was 18 when I was 13, and she said she wanted to have sex with me. So all I had to do was let her put makeup on me, so I said yes, of course.
That's right.
And I
God,
had sex with her.
He
And
is
then
funny, man.
her 22-year-old boyfriend came. He wanted to kick my ass, so he dropped me on my head. I had a giant head injury. Is that
He's
not
so
good,
fucking-
Alex Jones? In
it's
my
not
head,
bad.
in
Not
my
bad.
head, that sounds about right.
God damn. Joe does the best one.
He does a great one.
The
yeah.
black helicopter.
Interdimensional helicopters. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Joe's pretty good at impressions. He's
I'm so fucking glad he had him back on.
me too. Yeah, we had that, and it's funny because every once in a while he just makes a small joke where it's like he knows that what he's saying is crazy.
Yeah.
and he'll make a small kind of joke about it, and and that's what Joe likes. He's like, I don't know if all this stuff is real. He kept saying, I believe you. And I was like, do you, Joe?
I think he's saying he believes that Alex believes it.
Right. Yeah.
Basically.
But it definitely is entertaining, and he should
yeah.
be allowed to go out and do that.
Yeah.
I guess the issue is that there are people, and it's a small percentage of his listeners, but people that get hard in the paint, do believe that definitely what he's saying is true.
Yeah.
Now, would those people believe that kind of stuff anyways if they didn't have Alex like stirring it all up for them?
I would think.
I would think so too.
Or they'd be listening
They'll
to some
find-
other crackpot.
Yeah. They find it some way. So
Yeah.
is it right to take away Alex's, voice essentially?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so at
yeah,
all.
he should be still allowed.
I listened to Alex when I first got into conspiracies way back before I even knew conspiracy theory was really that much of a thing.
Yeah.
When I first got into this shit, who do you think we stumbled first into? I got Alex Jones first, as does almost everyone that looks up conspiracy theories.
Yeah, of
Then-
course.
I mean, yeah, he screams a lot. But like Joe says, there's a lot of things in there that are fucking real
Truth.
and creepy.
Yep.
And,
There are real creepy things that happen.
yeah.
So let's finish the episode off here. I got a couple more stats to go through for the and I assume this is still Canadian stats because I did find it via Canadian the Canadian website
.ca.
or whatever. Yeah, Canada.ca is a government website. So average number of witnesses per sighting, 2. Which I assumed it would be 1.
Yeah.
The average number, just one person saw it and they wrote in a thing. But apparently, average number of witnesses per sighting, 2.
Yeah.
Typical length of a sighting, what would you think?
I don't know, 10 seconds.
Me too. Typical length of sightings, 15 minutes.
What?
Yeah. Shape of sightings. What do you think? Typical shape of sightings.
Like shape of the UFO?
Yeah.
I would say either rods or discs.
Yeah. Those are in there. I've got a list of them. Boomerang,
Oh,
cigar,
yeah. Okay.
cone,
rods.
cylinder.
Well, cone
rod.
cigars. And those
Yeah.
are also nice. Well, not cones.
cone.
Cone's a cone, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna put a cone on your head and go make you sit in the corner.
I
for
need a
5
dunce
minutes.
cap. That's correct.
Diamond, disc. She mentioned fireball,
Ooh.
irregular.
What does that mean?
That covers a broad range.
Just a blob in the sky.
Line, which is a sort of a very thin,
Going back to-
small cigar
Going back to cylinder
slash
again.
cylinder. Oval,
Okay.
point source, Don't know what that means 100%. Maybe it's pointillation. That's the kind of like shading.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure that out.
Pointillism, by the way. Is what that's
Pointillism.
called.
Yeah.
Pointillism.
Pointillism. That was a
Shout out.
yeah. Shout out to a previous
whatever
episode
episode that
when
was on.
I didn't know what it was called when you shade something using just dots.
Yeah.
Pointillism. Yeah, that is right.
Hmm.
Okay. Couple more to go here. Rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
Round. Round disc.
Round, disc, and oval all can be one thing. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, oval slit.
Pretty similar.
Disc and round.
They're
Yeah, a disc could be oval.
Yeah.
For sure.
Depends what way you're looking at it.
Yeah. Sphere, square, and triangle.
Okay.
Now,
Triangle's different.
yeah, but a cone in the sky from 2 dimensions.
It's a triangle.
Triangle.
Yeah.
That was alphabetical, if you didn't notice.
Yep.
I read those.
Yeah.
So, thanks so much for listening, guys. There's some, hopefully that, kind of took you to a deeper level of knowledge on a couple of these Rogan topics from the previous week. We'll keep doing it this way for season 2 here, presumably another 20 or so episodes, and then who knows?
For sure.
Maybe we'll try something different for season 3. I don't know. That's for sure. We're kind of figuring this out as we go, but I do think the episodes are getting better.
I
would say from our first episode to our episodes now.
For sure.
We're more comfortable and hopefully a little less uhs and ums, or at least we're talking less about the uhs and ums.
Yeah. At least that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still haven't got the alpha brain, so
It'll come.
we'll see.
It'll come.
We'll see.
So after talking last episode, we were noticed by a couple of people in the States that were like free base jumpers and stuff like that. So
Oh, okay.
we're gonna get that audience sponsorship. You just watch.
Nice.
We'll get under Joe's attention here.
Yeah.
We're the little guys up north here, Joe.
Yeah. But if you come to Edmonton, which I know you do regularly,
Yeah.
Say hello.
Yeah. I'll come to your show. I'll buy your tickets. I
Yeah.
went last time.
I'd be happier with a free ticket, but
Yeah,
I absolutely have
absolutely.
to.
Oh, we'll come and rep you hard.
Yeah. We'll
Hard.
come.
Send us a t-shirt, we'll wear it.
So yeah, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Have a good one.
1, 2, 3. Hey there, Joe Rogan, super fan. This podcast is for you, my man, or woman, or non-binary. Our recaps will be legendary. The Rogan Report Podcast. Come on, you'll have a blast at the Rogan Report Podcast.